All right, I'm 365 Days of Horsemanship, day 279. Yeah, super nice day today. I got up early. I was awake at 6. I did my morning tea, I did my yoga, made breakfast, and came out to see the horses. So really proud of myself this morning. I've ticked all of my boxes for self-care and morning routine, and yeah, made it up to the horses. It was really nice. I haven't been up in the early morning for ages. Lawrence's herd were having a little nap, so just did some work on approaching them. And Lawrence thought about lying down a couple of times, and I think the first time I felt that maybe I'd become really predatory, like I think a lot of us in the natural horsemanship world. It's like a really big thing that your horse would lie down and then you could be around them while they're lying down, right? And I think we all want that to an extent. And so I think for me what happens is when Lawrence starts lying down, I'm like, which is of course like super predatory and super distracting. And so that obviously puts him off. And today I think it was like that again a little bit, but then I was kind of soothed by the fact that even after I left, he thought about it again and decided not to. I also do think he's a bit sore in his joints, especially in the morning. But that's okay because I have got some CBD, which I'm going to start him on. I'm really excited to join the Hempine CBD train. Loads of people that I know are using it, and it's got really good reviews. So, yeah, I tried CBD myself, but I didn't really get along with it. I found it gave me headaches, but I'm super sensitive to all that kind of stuff. And I haven't really tried anything like properly natural for a really long time. So yeah, but a lot of people say their horses go really super on it. Lawrence definitely has got some arthritis coming along now. So just going to start him on that. I did manage to get my insurance to pay for it, by the way, guys. So if anyone has got a horse who's still under insurance for a chronic condition like that, you can get those sorts of supplements through insurance if your vet will sign the form for you. So yeah, tip of the day. So yes. But it was a good session with Lawrence. It was nice. I didn't really get like up close to him. It was all kind of working at a distance. I was close at one point, but I was never touching. Did some more work again on my own movement, my own walking, which is again really interesting. So I'm just going to keep practicing that and hopefully enjoy the benefits of walking in a more balanced way. Then I went to Mia, brought Mia up, had a nice session. The groundwork was a little challenging. I didn't take the halter off today at all, which is okay. And actually the timings worked out perfectly for me because I'm going to work now. So I wouldn't have had any time to do anything else. But I didn't take the halter off today, and I wanted to work on the sideways into transitions. And I really felt this loss of connection, loss of energy. So I had to modify the pattern slightly to reinforce that it's sideways into a feeling of connection rather than like the task focused outcome. Because before there was this interest in the task, I think there's potentially a level of boredom with it now. And also I think potentially there's like, if we can be elsewhere, why would we not be elsewhere? Rather than actually engaging in the task that's happening. And I think that's actually happened because I've introduced the trot, and that's difficult. Before, it was quite an easy task, so it was quite enjoyable. Whereas now, I've upped the ante, I've started asking questions, and the things below have sort of fallen apart a bit, which I think is actually something that happens quite often. So now it's just like going back and finding out what's missing. And what I noticed today was missing was that element of connection. Like I can get the sideways, but the head's over here. We've got this counterflexion. There's tension on the rope, and she's like, whatever. So we basically just worked on, rather than into a walk or into a halt. We worked on asking for the sideways and maintaining the sideways until there was just the eye look, just that moment of just, and then, oh yeah, nice. And then it's like either we then go to a halt or we continue walking on, we ask again. So it was definitely a lot more fidgety today. It wasn't as clean, but it was definitely really, I think it was an important session, and it was good to feel like there's something to work on with it. And I'm kind of like happy and excited about the fact that the trot's been challenging, because ultimately it just gives us something to work on. You know, fundamentally, like if we just get really, really good at this exercise along the way, we're going to encounter a bunch of problems, resolve them, and that's only going to be good for like future things. So I'm not really too worried about it. And that's a really nice change for me, like to be really into like the same exercise over and over again, like, ooh, this small change in this exercise, like let's crack on with that, is really fun for me. So yeah, I might try to post actually the video of the work that we did today, because I think it's really interesting. Definitely it set up some new challenges for me. I think I have this mindset where I want to rush to the end result. So it's like, once things start going a little bit higgledy-piggledy, I want to put quite a lot of pressure on to get the thing done again. But because what we're actually looking for is connection, what I actually need to do is slow it down with Mia and be more clear and just ask for something and just wait for her to think about it. Because what actually happens is if I put too much pressure on, there's all this, or like I'm slightly too like quick with my hand to put the pressure on, then actually that just makes her more uptight and the tension increases and we get further away from the connection that I'm looking for. Whereas actually being able to be like, oh, things are getting fidgety, don't panic, just touch and just see if that touch works. And then if it doesn't work, just touch again. Like Ben Atkinson has this thing that he says, if you hold your whip like a wand, you'll make magic, or something like that. And I really like that. That's definitely something that came to my mind today while I was playing. I was thinking that in my mind. I was going, you're not really holding it like a magic wand, are you? So that was good. There's definitely some challenges for me to work on. I'm really interested to like kind of adapt the pattern slightly and use sideways to get that connection again. I think the great thing about the exercise is that sideways is getting really good now, comparatively to what it was. And so it's much easier for Mia to maintain a good quality sideways for a longer time, which means that it's more easy for us to have this conversation, where before it would have been challenging for a bunch of different reasons, which is again the great thing about just doing a lot of sideways. Pat Pirelli says the better your horse goes sideways and backwards, the better it does everything else, and I do think that's true. I do agree with that. So yeah, so it was really nice. And I've been using the sideways as well for the walking to and from the arena, because obviously there's a bunch of grass there and that's always a conversation. And so basically the conversation is, she has just two choices. She can either try to eat the grass, which means we're going to work on a really, really quick, like almost like a half pass in the trot. Like I'm like really pushing to get this like fast sideways where it's like almost a trot. Or we can just walk. And so that's really up to her. Like, obviously I would like us to just walk, but like if she decides she wants to eat, then that's fine, because I get to work on a really, really fast sideways, which is interesting to me. So yeah, so it's all coming along. And then we had a really nice ride, really, really nice ride. I was able to get on nicely with the halter, second time. First time there was a little fidgeting, and the second time was okay. And I could definitely feel that her tension was up just from having the halter on compared to not. And it took her a little while to kind of blow out and get into a rhythm, but she did, and it was really nice. It was really rhythmic. We didn't actually have we had one time where she got a little bit because she tripped over her back leg. But the rest of the time was really rhythmic, really smooth, really nice. Yeah, again, I was just working on my own position and posture. And then towards the end, I started working a little bit on just like a slight, like if I just put this slight little bit of pressure on this one side or on the other side, like, can we get just like a little bit? And again, it was like, can we get a little bit of movement? And I really noticed that actually, if I do too much, I create problems. Whereas if I just put a little pressure on and I'm just patient, I just wait for the outcome, get the outcome and release, let her think about it, get the outcome and release, I repeat that, we can bypass all of this, like, we don't have to push through all of this tension and stress, and like then we've got to put pressure on the front to manage the to manage the forwards energy, and we've got to blah, 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 like all these things that we have to do to manage everything. Actually, the other option is just to be more patient and slow with it. So that was really nice. It was a really good session. And I even got 5 minutes in with Rayo at the end for the first time, which is super nice. I keep saying to myself that I'm going to start just hanging out with him a bit, because he's a real sweetie. He's a real treat. He's really fun. He's got a lot of curiosity. And he's like a prime candidate for freedom-based training. And actually also, I was thinking today, just in the first 5 minutes of hanging out with him, I think he did Elsa's last clinic here. And she noticed, I wasn't really watching because I had Mia and Lawrence in that clinic. So I was busy. So I didn't really watch anybody else much. But I do remember her saying that Rayo like stands and walks in very weird ways. Probably because he's quite athletic, so he feels comfortable doing it, but it's not super good for his balance. He's also quite young. And I did notice that myself, even like just being in flow with him for a couple minutes. I was like, why is your foot over there? Like, why is your back feet like all the other way around? Like, so that's going to be really interesting. That's going to be something fun to play with, just to see if I can just influence him to be a little bit better balanced. I think the rocking is definitely going to be the way to go with that. So that's going to be an interesting little journey. I don't know how often I'll get to him, just every now and again when I have a little 5-minute window. But yeah, super happy with how it all went today. Super happy to be going to work and know that I can just go home later and relax knowing the horses are all done.